Ready? Start. The interim report of the 15th Finance Commission, tabled in Parliament on Saturday, has largely preserved the devolution mathematics of its predecessor, belaying concerns of a sizable cut in states' share. The Commission has recommended a 1 percentage point reduction in the vertical split of the divisible pool of tax revenues accruing to states to 41%. This follows the reorganization of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir into the Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. While the former state's notional share based on the parameters for horizontal devolution would have been about 0.85%, the Commission has cited the security and other special needs of the two territories to enhance their aggregate share to 1%, which would be met by the centre. As part of an effort to balance the principles of fiscal needs, equity and performance, as well as the need to ensure stability and predictability in transfers, the criteria for the horizontal sharing of taxes among states have been rejigged. A crucial new parameter, demographic performance, has been added to the mix. Having been mandated to adopt the population data from the 2011 census, the Commission has incorporated the additional criterion to ensure that states that have done well on demographic management are not unfairly disadvantaged. And since the norm also indirectly evaluates performance on the human capital outcomes of education and health, it has been assigned a weight of 12.5%. This should address the concerns voiced by several states over the switch to the 2011 census from the 1971 data. Among the states, with the exception of Tamil Nadu, all the other 4 southern states see a reduction in the recommended share of taxes for the year 2020 to 21. Notably, the suggested devolution to Odisha and Uttar Pradesh have also shrunk in percentage terms. Crucially, the Commission has flagged the issues dogging the GST, especially as indirect taxes constitute almost half the total tax revenues of the Union. From the sizable shortfalls and volatility in collections to serious cases of fraud, the new tax has yet to stabilize, leaving a majority of the states dependent on compensation from the centre. The Commission's effort to improve the granularity in devolution to local bodies has generated some interesting results. Urban local bodies, especially municipalities in cities with populations of more than 1 million, are set to get a larger share of the pie. However, the increase in the percentage of outcome-tied funds to 50% from 10% could prove vexing to the last mile providers of basic services in India's federal and highly fragmented structure of governance. The Commission has also been justifiable critical of the Union and state governments' tendency to finance spending through off-budget borrowings and via parastatals. It has done well to ask that such extra budgetary liabilities be clearly earmarked and eliminated in a time-bound manner. The Emergency Committee convened by the World Health Organization on January 30 has declared the novel coronavirus outbreak in China as a public health emergency of international concern, a development that comes after its meeting for the second time in just a week. There has also been the first confirmed fatality outside China with a death in the Philippines. As on Sunday, Chinese authorities said 45 more deaths had been recorded in Hubei province by the end of Saturday, bringing the death toll in the country to 304. All of China's provinces and territories have now reported cases. But the critical factor that prompted WHO's emergency declaration is the virus's human to human spread in other countries. In fact, WHO's committee reconvened to assess the situation mainly because of local transmission in other countries, a scenario for further global spread. In Kerala, after a student who had travelled from Wuhan city, the epicenter of the current outbreak was found to be infected, state health authorities on Sunday reported a second case being detected. This patient too had a history of travel from China. Besides isolating those who exhibit overt symptoms and conducting contact tracing, there is an urgent need to raise public awareness. This is essential so that they report to a hospital when symptoms show up later or in case of contact with a person who has traveled to China recently. There is evidence that those who appear to be healthy despite being infected can spread it even during the incubation period. Also, cases have been reported wherein people have not exhibited symptoms in spite of being infected. In both instances, thermal screening at airports, which is largely helpful, would fail to detect infected people, as in the case of the Kerala patients. Hence, time-tested measures, which include hand washing and hand hygiene, wearing protective gear while attending to sick people, and covering one's mouth and nose properly when coughing or sneezing will drastically reduce the infection risk.